Welcome to where the furniture isn't always the best, but them views, they are amazing.
It's the 13th floor, y'all. 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 It's the 13th floor, y'all.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 13th floor, where the furniture isn't always the best, but the views are amazing. I am your host, Coach K, here this week. Once again, shout out to our moderator that's on leave right now, B. Jones. Thinking about you, buddy. Hope all is well. Obviously, we still talk to you, but he's out there handling your stuff, so we look forward to when you get back. This week in the building, I got BJ. What's up, sir?
Yes, sir. All good, man.
Rocking that fresh 13th floor podcast swag.
Oh yeah,
I see you.
the package came in fresh
Drizzop.
in last week, man. So y'all go make sure y'all go pick it up, rock it out, because we will be rocking them.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
On Facebook, y'all can go cop merch.
Yep. Go check out our Facebook page, and you too can be swagged out.
Yeah,
with some 13th floor
should be.
gear.
This should be on the. I'm trying to get it onto YouTube shops. A little more difficult, but I'm going to get it on there too. So you'll have the option to click on the link on YouTube
Nice.
right below this. So
Nice. So, I mean, you might as well go ahead and keep talking, Faison, since they already heard your voice. So keep going.
they heard my voice, but no problem. Cool. What's up, everybody? Hello. As always, excited to be here and happy that you are watching or listening. For all the new listeners and watchers, welcome. This should be a good one. A lot to talk about today in our active hunt to 270.
Yep. And then I am fresh. I'm going to assume that that's what the AEI is for. I am fresh. So what's happening, sir?
You know what it is. As I say, I woke up, so we good. We here. We are tuned in to this election situation going on that has been extremely interesting. I'm tribute to the U. I'm rocking my old property of intramural champions. I am a champion, so I got the guns out today because it is a battle on this election day.
Nice. Glad to hear it, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you that are new, welcome to the 13th floor family. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. As always, you can follow us on many different platforms: SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, YouTube. Yup. You can catch us with
Anchor.
clips on IG. You can catch us on Anchor. You can catch us on Facebook, iHeartRadio. Look, we're out there, man. So look, tell your friends they have no excuse. There is a platform for them, whether it be paid or unpaid. There is one where they can catch us. So definitely encourage your friends to listen to an episode, like, subscribe, leave comments, and so forth and so on. So we're going to jump into the foolery, the tomfoolery. By the time you all hear this, maybe we'll have a new president. We might have the old president. Heck, we might have started a civil war by the time you all hear this. So I hope everybody's gone out there and got their rations and got their extra food and some water and all that good stuff. But look, everybody be safe. Whichever way it goes, keep your eyes open, be alert. But what do you guys think, man? What do you guys think about this election?
This is exactly what I expected. This is where we are now and how the count's going and how the states are turning out is what I expected. Obviously not shocked, but kind of twisted by Dade County and South Florida. Not because of what it is, but because of that. That was an unexpected lower count for where it is. But I thought it would be here. I knew it would be a tight race. I knew it would be down to the wire. And I expected it to take 2 or 3 more days before the results come in. So the fact that we're this close and the time it's recording, it is currently 2:53 for Biden and 2:13 for Trump. So
Depending on who you look at.
It depends on who you look at.
This
Yeah,
is
because
true.
there's some folks that are already giving Biden 264, right?
Fox, and everybody but CNN has them up to 264. I think.
Yeah, Fox has been ahead for a while. They've been ever since when they first started. They were pushing ahead, which kind of
crazy.
Yeah,
for Fox to go that way for them to call it. So
right, exactly. But yeah, that's what my thoughts are. It is what I thought it would be. Got lots of conversation about what everyone's saying, but yeah, for now, that's my thought. It is what it was, and I actually helped. Well, I'll tell that story later on, but I definitely was a part of this last day process, and we'll dig into that once we get a little further into the podcast. I'll tell you about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I tell you guys what's been funny. It's been funny just to watch, how the count goes and to watch people call in certain states and then to have to go back and switch it. Oh, we got that wrong. More votes came in, and it's been an interesting one. I would dare say it's been more interesting than when Hillary was running last time. It's definitely been a little bit different, but not surprised by Florida because we lost Florida last time. So
Florida is historically red. I mean,
not arguing that at all, but
it is definitely not in their place to make that change at all.
Yeah. Yep.
Maybe right now it is really looking at historically where we've been, where we're going. Again, I feel sorry for a lot of the kids that are witnessing it. I don't feel sorry for them for witnessing it because I think, again, when you experience it, you do right when it's your turn. We had epiphany, like right now, like my oldest son, next election, he'll be able to vote. I'm like, wow, like that's crazy.
Wow.
And so he's asking a lot of questions, he's doing stuff. But when I look at it, I think this whole process after 7:00 last night, Eastern Standard Time, when we started rolling out, I think it's been a civics lesson for a lot of people who really didn't understand the process that goes on. Everybody can say yes to the Electoral College and this happens, but the way things go and the way the counts go, and if you're watching the different broadcasts, and again, you have to watch multiple stations. You can't sit there and watch. And again, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. You have to get your resources, your information from multiple resources, right? Multiple sources. So again, if you look at how they're pulling into each state and looking at how each county is represented and how the comes in, you may have a majority red state, but then you look at Detroit, man, and in Michigan, and you see the whole state, and then they zoom in on Detroit, and you see the number of votes that come in, and all of a sudden, Michigan flipped. It was like people don't understand how these congressional districts run and operate. When you talk about your Senate races, you talk about the House of Representatives. That's another thing we need to get into because the Senate race right now is not looking good for us.
I wrote down.
I was going to say that it's another level of progression, just like you were saying, Kay. 4 years ago, it wasn't the same, but it's the progression of access through internet and media, right? That it's leveled up again to where we have so much access to stuff and so much is expected. When we were younger, we didn't have the ability to see everything and have reporters who were, trying to tweet out as, oh, yo, they dropped a box in what you call it. Like we were finding out that there was in Georgia, the water main blew and they had to hold off for a couple of hours, but none of the votes were affected. Like none of that stuff would have got reported to anybody back in the day. But like the guy is on the clock. You got on CNN, I'm watching Buddy is on the board. Like it's he's doing sports analysis.
Yeah.
Pulling things up, and it's awesome because just like B said, you're learning so much about the process because they're breaking things down. They got that cool map that they're expanding things and breaking it. Oh, well, this is this, and then 4 years ago it was like this, and now it's like this, and so it's an awesome learning process. But just like you said, it's going to, as it progresses, the next election, there's going to be a lot of digging into the process now.
And you know what? That's the part there that I'm disappointed by, because look, we knew in January and February, March at the latest, that COVID was here, right? With no knowledge of, hey, when is this going to end? So why didn't somebody have the foresight to say, okay, we need to make sure we have systems that can handle increased absentee ballot, increased mail-in
Well,
ballot?
there were people who did these
Yeah.
things. However, everybody underestimates the diabolicalness of Trump, right? And he saw this, and when everybody was making those statements, remember, that's when he was like, no, we're not doing that stuff. That's when he really started aggressively
People want to go
talking
stand
about
in line and vote.
Yeah, like that.
Mhm.
There's no mail-in ballots. That's fraud. That's a matter of fact. That's exactly when he started the aggressive speech about it being fraud with mail-in voting. That was exactly when it went from COVID just going to breeze away by Easter, and it was really like, oh snap, we really don't know, like, for real, for real. Now you got someone that like, no, for real, we don't know when it's gonna end. All right, that's when he went aggressive on saying, hey, that voting mail-in stuff. But Bernie Sanders called it like 2 or 3 years ago on Jimmy Fallon interview.
Was that clip 2 or 3 years ago?
Yes, yo, that was not recent. That clip
Oh,
was
that a
old.
little while ago. I didn't know it was that long ago.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was old. It wasn't. I don't even think it was from this year. But he said what he believes will happen is that, like all the races have been, they've been very close races. And when there are close races, all he's gonna do, he literally said he will declare victory on the night, and then go ahead and start, having his lawyers start, going after the states. Like,
Listen,
verbatim,
man,
what's going on.
If that's from 2-3 years ago, that is scary. That is super
Simpson
scary.
style. I think he writes.
Well,
for
the
the
plan,
Simpsons
yeah.
too.
That is crazy. Man, listen, it's very interesting though to see Georgia still in the mix.
Yeah. Well, the thing that's inquisitive to me, like you said, there's a plan of action. You know that COVID tapping is going to increase mail-in ballots or absentee ballots and so forth.
Is November 3rd.
What I don't understand is why they weren't able to count them before. And I'm not sure if it was a blind hold or put them in a place where we didn't know the results until 7 o'clock or so. But it just seems crazy that you have so many of these votes there or not being processed.
So there is a reason for that, because every state can dictate their state board of elections.
Right.
That. So certain states have rules in place where they can't begin counting absentee or the mail-in votes until polling places close in that state. Other one, like Florida started theirs over the weekend. So the rule, the law is separate, is different depending on where you live and where you go. But this should make everybody think about, okay, as we move into this new era of whatever we're going to do, is this going to be a new normal? Is mail-in ballots going to be a new normal? What systems are in place right now? What did we experience this time that we need to revamp? So then now it's time to lobby legislation, which gets, again, you get back to the more local. Who's your House of Representatives? Who's your senator to push those bills through? And at the local, your state House of Representatives, I'm saying that wrong. At the state level, who needs to pass those laws and push those laws and lobby for it to make it happen in your state? And again, it's going to be a fight back and forth, but those are some of the things they need to change. And I'm sure we're going to get to that later on too. So,
I mean,
hold on. I wanted to. It was only 2 weeks ago. My bad, on the Bernie Sanders interview.
On the Bernie Sanders, I was going to say,
I was giving him.
If Bernie knew that 2-3 years ago, I'm calling shenanigans. Like they got time machines and people are jumping back and forth all the time. There's so many things that's going on. So many things that I have questions on, right? So, okay, everybody here is registered to vote.
Yes.
Do you register race or do you register ethnicity?
Race.
I think I put other purposely.
Okay. But it's definitely race.
Yeah.
There's no ethnicity, right?
Right.
No, it's not.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
So how does the state of Florida know how many Cubans voted and how many Puerto Ricans voted?
They might have.
Oh no,
something.
because the Latin one actually has like doesn't have
Nope.
that extra
Nope.
button for it.
Nope. Sure doesn't.
I thought the one that they had where it was Latin.
I mean,
then Latin
potentially
descent, there's a
they could
breakdown.
all be doing it through the other that you fill out.
Yeah.
Potentially, I doubt it. Potentially, but to me, I would assume
The exit
that
Oh.
voter registration isn't an independent thing in the sense of yes, your voter registration is here, but then it's verified with other stuff. You know what I mean? And so that's how they get the other information. You know what I mean? Like it's verified with your driver's license, and your driver's does it have same thing?
Driver license, same thing.
Yeah,
They don't
I
ask
just
you if
think-
you
yeah.
Hispanic Puerto Rican.
I
Are
think
you
they do
Hispanic
sample
Cuban?
polling
Are you
when
Hispanic
they
Colombian? Do you know how long that list would be?
when they do exit polls. That's probably part of the thing. And when they do go in different communities, what percentage of the population is, and they kind of figure out
That's what
approximately
it is.
how blacks are voting. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of right then.
Well, if you're gonna do how blacks are voting, then tell me how Jamaicans are voting. Tell me how Trinidadians are voting.
Well,
There might
unfortunately,
potentially
they
be that
don't
type of
categorize that.
information.
You black, you black.
There might potentially be that information though.
Listen, I'm gonna call shenanigans. I'm gonna call it's just another way to keep people divided in certain places. Cause you're just looking at, oh man, all you Cubans voted for Trump, man. We done with y'all, man. Blah blah blah. It's just gonna continue the separation. Because if you ever get Florida united moving forward, that's just a crippling blow
Yeah.
to the Republican Party for the most part, or whichever party Florida decides to vote for, if they were united. But anyway, that was just random to me. I was just like, how are y'all getting this? I've never seen this before. How
Just
do y'all
pulled it,
know
you're
this?
right. I just pulled it up, and it's American Indian, and Alaskan Native, Asian, Pacific, Black or non-Hispanic origin, Hispanic, white, not of Hispanic origin, multiracial, or other.
You see what I'm saying?
So unless every single one of them picked other Cuban, it's not. Yeah.
But
Mhm.
Yeah.
Fair point.
Yeah. I'm just saying, it's just things you notice, things you think about.
Yeah.
So let's switch topics for a second. Not topics, but let's switch the area that we're in, right? Regarding elections. So let's say Joe Biden wins. What changes for us black people? What changes for minorities?
Initially,
Yeah, and then in the beginning, I don't think anything changes right now. I think it's just more from
my initial take on that.
Hmm.
My initial take on that is we hope that there's a listening ear to push agendas, to push things out there. Has it been proven that that's going to happen? Honestly, when you think about what you're voting for, who you're voting for, and okay, it might have been you that said it. I don't know. We were talking, and I was talking to 50 million different people over the last week. I don't remember who exactly said it, but basically, you're voting for.
You were talking to 50 million people. We need to have you run for political office, but go ahead.
West, yeah, he does.
Somebody else said that this week too, but that's not happening. What we, and I do believe what you though, say you're voting for the person who's going to give you the best option in the future.
Yep.
Because I hate, and Gina, I had the conversation earlier today, and I've talked myself out of saying it too. I'm voting for the lesser of two evils.
Mhm.
That's not the best way to think about it.
Mhm.
You're voting for who's going to give, and that may not be tomorrow. That may be who's setting you up for the next president to come in.
Correct.
Right.
For the next, open the next door.
Mhm.
So what's going to change automatically? Right now, I don't think anything. It's going to take some time. It's going to take programs and conversations and things to happen. And we talk about that Black agenda. What was the Ice Cube's thing? The
Black American contract.
The contract. Thank you. We talk about the contract. There's things like that. But again, we go back to many conversations we had before. Until we're united on what it is we want to accomplish,
Mhm.
what some people are going to say, yeah, we got this, and no, that don't count. They didn't give us this. They didn't give us that. There's no compromise on what that agenda is and what we're working towards. So that sense of we've arrived or not arrived, or we got this and didn't get this is still situational.
Yeah.
Very true. It's in a sense, it's like Obama getting elected, whereas it's that hope.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
because it's it's there was nothing that was an immediate drop of change for us besides that understanding and belief of possibilities, right? And it's the same thing here. And I think as many people, well, I won't say as many, but there are proven a large amount of people who do not believe this is about racism. It's kind of that. It feels like almost like that real line in the sand of, wow, is racism going to really be okay in a sense? Because that's the way a big portion of anti-Trumpers feel. And what's interesting is a large portion of Trump supporters do not have a belief that racism is on the table with it, even with it being stated repeatedly in their face. And so that's like the battleground of right now. And you can see in the split of votes, it went that like white males, white females voted heavily, but it was like white males were like 70% of them did voted for Trump. White females were like 60% voted for Trump, and then it like dropped drastically for everybody else. It was something like, I think black males was something like 10 or 13, and then I think that black females was down to like 8.
Wow.
But it's that line in the sand of, no, when I see a Trump sign, I don't care. I see you're racist. Like, it doesn't matter. And it's crazy for me because I am in an area of just older white people. And I mean, some of the nicest people in this community, all of a sudden I'm walking down, and I'm like, who the hell has a Trump sign in this neighborhood? The nicest people who have checked on my mom repeatedly, planted right in their front yard. And I'm just like, man, this is real. But that's the thing
And
about it is,
that's the conversation a lot of people don't understand, right? I'm not inherently saying that I believe you're racist or you've done anything to me that promotes racism. Let's put it that way. But you're supporting the ideas and concepts that are separating individuals. And because you can't see that is a major blockade for this country, for this community, for everything that goes on right now. Again, like you said, you could be the nicest person in the world. Like you said, checking on a family, we could be it. But at the end of the day, you're supporting something that's promoting something that's hurting me and my family and my community. How do I reconcile that?
I'm always mind blown that, to me, I always want to have a better understanding of, so do you think that all of us are lying about our experience? Like, do you think that when we speak of racism, what we've had happen to us, that it's just, somehow we're in some weird matrix and we're like making stuff up? That's always my biggest question, because it's like, if it wasn't true, why do so many people feel this way? Why?
Well, it's because that that person doesn't do it, and their immediate circle of 5 doesn't do it. But that 6th person may do it, but it just.
But the funny thing is, 9 times out of 10, no, they do have somebody in that circle of 5 who they know who do it, and they just brush it under the rug. Oh well, he was right. He rocked Confederate flags. You know what I mean? That's what they go to the chili cook-off.
Here's the part that gets me though. So you look at the amount of red, like, so the middle of the country, almost the whole middle of the country going over, it's until you get to the borders, right? The east and the west, that you start to find blue. It's just interesting, right? And look, I'm not saying they're all racist. To a degree, this is just a tactic and a technique that he used to get people to support him, right?
Yeah.
I'm not here to debate whether or not he's racist. I just know that you've agitated the wrong people. And these aren't the people that we need out and about, whether it be physically terrorizing or mentally terrorizing people, right? Because there are so many people in fear right now of what's going to happen. And if you look at it, I was telling somebody earlier, if we did break out into a civil war, it's not even the North versus the South.
Oh, no.
It's a border versus the middle.
And
Looking at that map.
it is going to be crazy. And they have them hillbillies got a head start.
Man,
No.
listen, all these places that are wiped
Got a
out
head start.
of ammunition and all types of stuff, and it is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. But getting back to what changes for us, you're right. It's just like when President Obama got elected. President Obama got elected, and we thought we had arrived. We were like, we have crossed the Red Sea. We are good to go.
Get a Billy, baby.
and it's funny that I used that biblical reference of crossing the Red Sea, because for anybody that's watched the 12 Commandments, life just started after you crossed that Red Sea. That's when the struggles really started and your faith was tested and what was going on. And for us, I think it's the same thing. Even if Joe Biden gets elected, the battle is just starting.
Yep.
It's just starting all over again, because you can't say we've arrived. All these people that got riled up, they're not just going to go away just calmly. That's when it's going to start. And the other thing is, you got to realize we got a lot of work to do over the next 2 years.
Yeah.
Because we're waiting on 4 Senate seats. It doesn't look like we're going to get them. Right? So there's 4 Senate seats. If we don't get them, we already got to start thinking about the midterm elections. And here's why we got to start thinking about the midterm elections. If Joe Biden wins, he's a one-term president.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yes.
Because he already got concerned just hoping, bruh.
We are hoping.
Are you going to make it past through these 4?
Yes. Yes.
Period. And listen, I guarantee you, both sides, it'll be the best bipartisan effort ever. We're going to get this man the best medical care we can, because what we don't want, we don't want a black woman come up there and have if this dude falls out.
Like you said about before, later on, like they didn't want Biden to take it at the time, so President Obama was safe, because it's just crazy. But I wanted to make sure that I got this point out before we jumped somewhere else. And you mentioned that middle America, may not. They kind of they see things how they are and they understand the process behind it. And today or last night, Lindsey Graham came on. And he said, South Carolina told me what they wanted by voting for me. So what I'm doing is the right thing. Because they're asking for, they voted me in again. And that says enough that even though he was backing all the ideals and all the things that Trump was doing, because Lindsey Graham was right there, just like Mr. McConnell, and both of them got reelected, no matter how much money was put into that market.
Yep.
That specific area is saying, we see what happened with Trump, and that's fine, no big deal, but we need you to stay there to make sure that nothing else gets changed.
That man told the public, not just South Carolina, the nation, that a black person in South Carolina can feel free to go anywhere as long as they vote Republican.
Yeah,
they should feel free to walk anywhere as long as they voted Republican. Which
when he said conservative, what he said was conservative. He said conservative. As long as they vote conservative, and he said that. What else did he say? A woman could do anything she wants to as long as she keeps a good household or something like that, knows how to run a good home or something like that. Like,
and he won.
Yeah, there's some old.
Listen, kept his seat.
Listen, some I
Mitch McConnell back in there too.
Yeah. But I have a friend
about the good old days of segregation, because he was asking something in court to the lady, and he said, "Well, is it like back in the good old days?" And was referring back to when there was segregation. Like Lily would ask about it, he was like, "Oh, I was just." He said something that these old rich white dudes used as pretty much a BS, like, "Oh, go ahead," you know what I mean? I was just joshing with you. You know what I mean? It was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's
conservatives. Listen, if you unfortunately, there's not going to be the liberal thought or the push for libertarianism in those areas. It's going to be a slow grind, and there's some movement happening. And greatly, there are people moving into those markets, South Carolina, North Carolina. People are moving there from other areas, from California, from so forth. So the change is happening, and it's happening slow. Same as
Oh,
here
that's what's
in
happening.
Georgia.
Yep.
It's changing slowly but surely, but the hold in those rural areas where no one wants to live yet, or no one from another city is coming in and wants to live there yet, is not there. But as it spans out, just like here in Georgia, the Alpharettas and the Johns Creeks and all that was not in play. It starts to adjust because now you're building out, and now the city is getting bigger. And
there's not.
It shows all of that strap is. It shows in total that we are still that they are still the majority, we are still the minority, because all of that area is where we are definitely more in city, type areas.
Oh, for sure.
Concentrated.
Why they always refer to as the urban areas? That's all they say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you can totally see that. But it also speaks to another thing is I always look at the psyche of this is what you want to teach your kids is how a leader is supposed to be. That a leader is supposed to just lie and say anything at the moment and be proven. I mean, literally, as soon as he's saying it out his mouth, somebody's behind it. Nah, well, that's a lie. That's not true at all. And everybody knows this, but yet you want to teach like your child that like that's how you lead. That's what you're supposed to do as the leader of like the biggest leader in the world. That's how you're supposed to do it. Like that's what blows my mind is you guys are okay with that example. You see what he does, how he acts, and know that he is a conniving, SOB, but yet you are consistent with thinking that's the way to do it.
So one of the biggest things this whole last like 2 months, the amount of kids, when I say kids, I'm talking about late elementary, middle school age, not even high school, like that are wearing paraphernalia, the MAGA hats, and everything like that. But they're out with their parents. And I can't help but to think, like, so you're out with your parents again, no malintent for me. I'm like, you chose to wear, we've been seeing those hats for how long now? It doesn't really round me up. It doesn't do it. But I'm in my mind, I'm thinking this kid, I'm looking at this kid is out with mom and dad and is proud to wear this hat and walk around and doing this hat. I would feel bad for that kid to have that hat on, have that shirt on, have something, be out by himself, not around his mom or dad, and then something happened to him. God forbid something happened to that kid because of that. So then it becomes a race thing. Then it becomes something. But what are you instilling? Just like you said, that's what brought it up. What are you instilling in them about what that means? What it's like to be there? So you can't blame. I'm not condoning anything. So first of all, don't come for me. That's not what I'm saying. But God forbid something happened to this kid. He decides to go out with some friends one day to the mall and they run up on the wrong people, right? And something happens. Then it's going to be race related. No, it's the values and the what you hold near and dear to your heart and what that kid has been taught to believe and portray. So that's why like we're messing up a whole generation of thought process. Because you think about basically the country split in half, right? Those are 18 and older. Let's just say out of the 18 a lot. I don't want to split it. Even if you take that half and half of those that voted, it was roughly 140 million, roughly. It was like 68 and 69, 70 million apiece right now in a popular vote, I believe. So you got that many people. How many offspring do we have from all those people?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Those are just the voters.
You're right. I mean, but look, this ain't nothing new. I mean, this has been going on. This has been just recycling and just keeping it alive the whole time. And to go back to something you said, Fresh, you said they seem to not believe us when we talk about our experiences, but then they'll be the first ones to say that we just can't get ourselves together. We can't organize to figure out what we want, this, that, the other. So my question is,
we don't want to succeed. That's what.
Jared.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
We're lazy. We're this. We're that. So when did we have the time and get together to organize the same story? Right. Hello. Did anybody think about that?
Well, no, I didn't think about that, but it just spreads. It's just that old mentality that you just keep
No. Listen to what I'm saying.
Mhm.
When did us as black people or us as minorities get
Mhm.
together and agree that we were going to tell the same story?
Same
Oh,
racism
our
stories.
story, our
Yeah,
story.
the same
Yeah,
racism stories and
got
all
it.
of that.
Got it.
When did we do that?
Yeah, everybody's story is different. There's no
Yeah,
same.
why was that the
There's no
choice of
story
our
the same
why
exact
was
way.
that the choice of our meeting and not to go
Right.
ahead
Yeah.
And if we had a meeting to come up with that one, why haven't we had another one yet?
yeah.
Right.
Like if we were organizing that type of thing, we wouldn't be. We would have who we want in office right now. There would be no confusion whatsoever. But I want to make sure we leave the people like with something. And I think the biggest thing is they need to realize that this is just the beginning. Like it's not over. Like whatever happens, whether by the time you all hear this, Trump is going to be president for the next 4 years, or Biden's going to be president for the next 4 years. That is really we just made it a little bit easier for us if Biden wins. We still got a whole lot of work to do.
Yeah.
And that all starts, as we've said many times before, that starts at the local level out. You don't start at the top down. It's just easier for us to get the top. But if you don't do the lower level, the mid level, it's all for naught. Because we're about to be, if we don't get the Senate, we're about to be in the same situation all over again, just like when President Obama was in. He can try to do anything he wants.
Facts.
Listen, I've always, and it's just like a wish of mine before we get out of here, and I've always wished that we can get back to where government was if 51-50 or 50-50 on both those things. There was actually discussion, and people could see both sides. I think this majority on both sides is going to be a concern until it's split. Like I know everyone's trying to flip this way or flip that way and trying to get it going. But I think in order for a change to truly happen and to be long, it has to be a even like down the middle kind of thing. Maybe 51-49 on opposite sides so that the conversation has to start and that one person can change their mindset. Because not every Republican is super conservative. Not every Democrat is super that. So time to work both sides of the aisle, I think it was lost. And I think it's time to bring. I hope that gets brought back. I hope that if Joe Biden is put in the presidency, that he can bring that back to both houses, the House and the Senate, because that's I think is important. Is that conversation piece? It's not just I'm going to say this, I'm going to do this, walk away. It's conversation, talking, trying to find the best for the American people as a whole.
Yeah, and I mean, so I thought today he put his intentions out there.
Awesome.
Right.
It was a good speech.
Yeah, it was short, but it was good, and like it covered so many things. I was just like, man, whoever wrote that or edited that,
You're doing an Emmy right now.
we need to vote for them. But when my man said, "Hey, look, we running as Democrats, but should we win, we're no longer Democrat or Republican. We are the leader of this country."
Yep.
And I think that's something that we just haven't seen in the last 4 years, where I'm the leader of this country, not the leader of a certain group of people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, cool. Let's put a bow on that. Fresh, I know you think that I messed up and I didn't let you do Freshivation after your intro, but I actually felt like people will need something fresh to think about to carry them through whatever the result is. So that's why I purposely waited until the end for you to put your Freshivation out there.
Well, one, I thank you. But two, I've known you a long time, and I know that every little thing that drifts around in that big old head has rhyme and reason. So I knew as soon as you just skirted past, I already knew. I got to make sure I bring it home right. With that said, Freshivation for this week, ladies and gentlemen. No matter how hard it may be, I stay strong. No matter how painful it may feel, I stay strong. No matter the difficulties I may face, I stay strong. No matter what everyone thinks, I stay strong. No matter what I think, I stay strong. I always encourage myself to go on and be strong. I always manage to keep on. I always manage to find the needed strength within me. got to be strong in times like this. So I know a lot of people are getting razzled with trying to wait on the outcome of this election. But you know, just like Kay said, regardless of the outcome, the work is still just beginning. We still have many more battles to fight and many more things to do. So regardless, be strong, stay strong, keep fighting the good fight, and keep that thing moving. It's reservation. You know what time it is.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Art's Corner.
I don't even know where to start for this week.
He didn't prep.
No, it's not even prep.
I got it this week.
It's not even prep. It's just more like I don't even know. Like with everything going on this entire week, and now today, and when this lands on Friday, just listen. Know your neighbor. Right now, you're walking around. You're seeing all these signs for both sides, both parties. People are going to be upset. Listen, now the time to talk. Now it's time to conversate. The movement, the election, all the process is over. Let the conversation begin on what you can do in your area, your community. I went out and I volunteered to work the polls to understand and to see what the views were from everyone on both sides. And you hear conversations, and most conversations are not that far apart. It's just how they see that end result and what it is. So it's understanding that to bring it into play for yourself in teaching. I mean, you have to teach someone your view, and you have to listen and hear their views so you can learn from them. If you can't listen to each other, then this is all for nothing. So as you grow, listen, understand, and just don't judge when you get there. You never know if that kid who has the MAGA hat on, just got it from his parents, not knowing what the MAGA behind it means, but more my dad wears this, so he gave it to me. So conversate, talk, don't make assumptions, and hopefully we can move forward and as a country, and especially as a race, get together and make change when it matters locally in those midterms, because in 2 years from now, that's when the same vote you put out now has to happen.
Yo, and honestly, we don't have to wait 2 years. There's a whole bunch of gubernatorial races next year. In 21 and 22, depending on what state you are. Like you talk about local, the state level has to happen too. You got mayoral stuff now, but keep your eye out. Don't think that your voting time is done. You did it this in another 4 years. No, bro. You got you got everything. You may have one in February. You may have one in primary next. August, September. Again, stay on top of it. Stay educated about it.
And runoffs matter. Runoffs is not the end. You got to take care and finish for the runoff part. That's going to happen soon. So
yes, we have a runoff in January already for those of us here in Georgia, like you and I, Art, which is going to be interesting. I got to switch my voter registration by then because now Florida doesn't need me anymore. They need me here now, which is hilarious. Which is really hilarious because my mail-in ballot got counted in Florida. If I would have voted here in Fulton County, my ballot may not have been counted yet.
Wow. That's true. Yeah.
Fulton County's holding up. Georgia, I think we had 36,000 votes as of like an hour ago that still needed to be counted.
Yep.
So they're trying to get them all done by midnight. But in any case, look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm done for a while reminding y'all of where you can hear this podcast. If you really want to know, if you're listening right now, then you know where you can listen to it. If you're not listening, then it doesn't make me sense for me to tell you where you can get it because you're not going to hear it. So,
very true. Facts. It's true facts.
Facts, right?
You already know your platform. You know where you're listening.
You know your platform if you're listening. So I think we're done with that. But what I will say is this: the same way that most of us realize that you can't just send your child to school and expect they're going to get a good education. Good education starts at home with you setting the foundation. Well, that's the same thing with the future of our country. You can't just leave it to the news and the media and the political campaigns for your kids to understand what it means to vote and what is the strength of their vote. So when we talked about Art's Corner, you know, it was hitting me like, man, take care of your cornerstone. Take care of the cornerstone of your house, and set what the values are from now that will carry through. One of the things that I know BJ does, they try to take their kids to go vote. Art and I, we're not in that space yet where we can take our kids, even though now I think about it, Asher's been twice to go vote, maybe once. He's been once to vote. So just start getting your kids in the habit. Build the habits now. Not just the habit of voting, but the correct way to vote, to do the research, to find out what these
doing
people
research every single time. Like, what are you doing? Let's look up the judges. That was a big one down here. Right?
That was a huge one down there.
Sheriff Flip here too in Cobb County because of that reason.
Yep. So
it's important.
It's super important. And just know, look, we can vote. We can put the person that we think is going to be the best or put us in the best position. We might be wrong. So just consider what you're going to do. If that person doesn't deliver, what is your next course of action? Have a plan. Know what we're going to do. Don't just think about this presidential election. Think 2 to 3 elections out.
Yep.
What road does this set us on? How far does this set us back? How far does this set us ahead? It needs to be a plan. I think part of the thing with voting is that we think short term. We don't think long term. We don't think what can happen in 2 years, what can happen in 4 years. Somewhat stuff. But ladies and gentlemen, that's our show today. We appreciate you listening. We appreciate you joining us on the 13th floor. Say it with me, where the furniture isn't always the best, but the views, they are amazing. Yeah, I really meant for the listeners to say it with me.
I realized that when I started saying it. I was too much.
Go with it. Run with it.
Good for everyone. It's good for everyone.
See y'all. Go out there and get that merchandise.
Don't cut that out, baby.
Amazing.